What's up, guys? Welcome back for the next video. First off, none of this is financial advice, and specifically for this video, I am not a tax professional. So it's very important that you know that, because this video is entirely about taxes, which I think is a rather boring subject, and for most people, I don't think it's something that they find exciting in any way. Largely, taxes are something that's just a headache, for the vast majority of people. But hopefully after watching this video, you're gonna see that it can be an exciting subject. Hopefully I'm gonna give you some info that will change your way of thinking about it. And this is a very important video, because understanding taxes is, like I told you in one of the previous videos, one of the major advantages to going down this different path of asset ownership, which I'm trying to convince you guys is, just in my opinion, a better path to take in life. So there's actually two sets of rules. I believe I've referenced this before, and it's absolutely true. There's two sets of rules when it comes to paying taxes, and you can pay taxes as a working class individual, or you can pay taxes or not pay taxes as a business owner or an asset owner. So why are there two sets of rules? This is, I think, the first and most important question to understand, so that way you guys can really appreciate how it came to be, and also how to benefit from the better of the two sets of rules. So the birth of federal income tax actually occurred in 1909, and it was after the Civil War. Income tax actually came about as a way to pay for wars for governments, and there was a big push at the time to tax the wealthy individuals in the country. And the reason why income tax came to be for everyone is because the wealthy individuals in the country, when there was a push to tax them, they were the people that had the money to get close to the people in power who actually had all of the ability to make the decisions and put a federal income tax in place. So they were the ones that were whispering in the ears, and were able to get taxation across the board, both for wealthy individuals, for working class individuals, and the federal income tax was born. And actually at the time, it was promised by the United States government to be a temporary measure. You guys can see how that's transpired since. I think that is not necessarily an uncommon thing that the government will do. They will come out and say, look, we're gonna pass this temporarily, then it's gonna go away. And there's actually many times in history where that same occurrence is played out, and whatever it is has not gone away. So federal income tax is definitely one of those. So the first thing I wanna explore when it comes to taxation is how many times a single dollar that you earn actually gets taxed. And I think a lot of people probably have never really thought about this, but you're getting taxed multiple times on a single dollar. When you go to work and you earn each dollar that you should rightfully receive, you get taxed several ways on that same dollar. You get a federal income tax, you get a social security tax, you get a state tax, you get a local tax. So already that $1 is being taxed several times. So once you go through that initial phase and your dollar has been taxed several times, you're gonna get taxed on it again. Whenever you go to spend it, you're gonna pay a sales tax. So your decreased version of that $1 then is getting hit again on a sales tax, which is gonna be equal to whatever state that you live in. If you then own a home, you're gonna pay a homeowner's tax each year. There's many different kinds of ways that a single dollar you earn can be taxed. And honestly, to take it to the extreme, several states do not do this anymore. There's actually a limited number that still do, but I happen to actually live in a state where inheritance tax is a thing. An inheritance tax is equal to 40 40%, guys. It's a rather insane tax in my opinion, and I think that's why a lot of states have done away with it. I don't think it's very ethical, because if you think about it, if you have a loved one that passes away and you live in a state where there's inheritance tax and they have to pay 40% to the government before you and any of your other relatives get anything, here's essentially what that means. Let's say you have a brother or a sister. There's two kids in your family that came from your parents, and your parents pass away, unfortunately, and you live in a state where there's inheritance tax. Well, the government takes 40%. So what's left? 60%. That literally means if you have one sibling and you split it 50-50, and each of you get the remaining 30% of that leftover money, the government, the United States government, gets more money out of the inheritance of your parents than you do. That's crazy, guys. That's absolutely crazy. So, examining that, let's go back to the first question that I asked. Why are there two sets of rules? And the reason why there's two sets of rules is because of two reasons. First off, the current form of taxation, in my opinion, is unfair. It's unethical. It's insane to think that a single dollar is going to get taxed that many times, and especially when you factor in inheritance tax, that the government can get paid more than you if you simply just have one sibling. Good luck making an argument that that is a just kind of a tax. And the wealthy individuals in this country, they all know that. And likewise, to when the federal income tax was first set up, those people, the wealthy individuals in the country, they are the ones who have the money and the resources to be able to affect decisions through politicians and people who are in power to affect what the law is based around taxes. So those people also feel like the taxation is largely unfair, and over time they have worked to see that there are two sets of rules so that way they can get out of it. However, the second reason, in addition, is it does work to some extent to try and motivate people to be providers in a society. And I know that in a previous video, this is something that I talked to you guys about, that the government is actually incentivized to have two sets of rules when it comes to taxation, because the government wants there to be a spurring economy. They want to have as many potential options for the people that live in the country as possible when it comes to being able to buy goods and services and live productive livelihoods. So the people who are creating those opportunities in the economy, the wealthy people, they want to encourage more people to join that category to make as many opportunities as possible. So one big thing that having two sets of rules does is it incentivizes people to try and put themselves in that category to get tax breaks where they couldn't get it if they were just working an everyday job. So there's those two reasons why. And it's also because taxing the rich does not really work, you guys. This is a very, very common part of politics, and look, this is not a political channel at all. I'm not looking to go down that road, but it is worth exploring for this concept. In politics, you will commonly hear people voice the sentiment that we should tax the rich, to pay for whatever it is. And it would be more fair, I think, is the argument, to have wealthy individuals pay a higher percentage of tax. But the reason why taxing the rich doesn't work is because taxes are largely based off of income. And if you're saying you want to tax this individual person based on them having a lot more money, the way that they structure their money is not in the sense that an everyday working person does. They don't have all their money under their name, guys. Wealthy individuals, they keep the vast amount of their money under their business. And when it comes to taking an income from their business, they take an income amount that's very commonly going to put them not in the highest tax bracket, because any kind of income that a wealthy individual takes from a business or any assets they own, it's going to be taxed differently than any income they keep under their business umbrella. So people can go out all day and say, I think we need to tax the rich, but you have to understand that the vast majority of the money that wealthy individuals have is going to be excluded from that tax. And the reason why is because of these two rules, the two sets of rules. If you are an everyday working person, you get taxed in all of the ways that I already outlined. If you are a business owner, any money that you keep within your business gets taxed differently, and you can offset any of the money that you've made with costs. And that is literally the name of the game. As an everyday working citizen, you can only offset so much of the money that you make with the costs in your life. So one easy example is, if you're an everyday working citizen, if you're a homeowner, but that home is not an asset, and you're not renting it out to people, and you go out and you buy a lawnmower, well, guess what? You're gonna get taxed on that lawnmower. But if you're a business owner and you go out and you buy a lawnmower for mowing the grass of the home that you're renting out to other people, now all of a sudden you can report all of the costs of that lawnmower and you can offset it against your profits. So that's the way that the wealthy people play the game. And what I would say is, try not to get discouraged hearing this. You don't have to get discouraged, guys, because you can play by either set of the rules that you choose to. I think it's a better plan to put yourself in a position of asset ownership to increase your income stream and start playing by the rules of the rich, because ultimately, if you have the discipline, like I've been saying, and you stick it out and you put yourself in that position, there's no reason why you can't start doing the same thing that the wealthy individuals are doing, and you can escape unfair taxation. So when you guys are offsetting your income versus your expenses, the more businesses that you have, the better that you can do this with. But for example, if you guys get your first asset and it's a home, and you're going down the route that I'm ascribing to you, essentially you can write off your homeowner's insurance, you can write off any of your electrical and your heating and cooling bills. You can write off the vast majority of the expenses that you have just for that home against the income coming in for it. So for example, like all of the major purchases for the home that you can make an argument that are needed to maintain the home. So a lawnmower, or if you pay for a lawn service, you can write that off. Any of the repairs that you do to the home, you can write all those off. Any kind of art, you can make an argument that it's a marketing expense. You can write off art. If you guys live in the home and you're like me and you like to have candles, and if you take pride in your place and you like it smelling good, you can actually write candles off. I do it every single year. It goes under the cleaning items category. And if you go on a vacation, if it is a vacation that actually has to do, if it can be connected in some sort of way to your business, you can absolutely write that off too. What's important is you guys ask your tax professional, and this is why I really said that I suggest you have a one-on-one working relationship with a tax professional, along with your other advisory type people, is because they are going to be the ones to kind of best educate you and answer questions as far as what all tools you have at your disposal and how to go about it. So ask your tax professional. You know, they're gonna get to know you. They're gonna get to know your business, and they're gonna absolutely know if a purchase that you want to make can be written off against the business, and they can absolutely explain why it can or why it cannot. So that person is an excellent tool to use throughout the year, guys. I call up my tax professional all the time whenever I'm getting ready to make a purchase, if I'm unsure if it can be covered, and he gives me a quick answer and I'm good to go. So as your business ventures expand too, you should be able to cover almost virtually everything. If you own a home as your first and only asset and you're renting it out to tenants, but you also work a job, and you drive to your job each day, well, you're kind of in both categories where you're playing under the working class set of tax rules, but you're also playing under the business ownership rules where you actually own an asset. So for example, in that scenario, you're likely not going to be able to write off your car expense and your gas expense for going to your job. That falls under the other category of rules. However, let's say you open a business and now your business replaces your job. Well, in that sense, if you have to physically be at the business to run the business, you can now write off your car. That car is needed for you to get to that business. You can begin writing off the gas. That gas is needed to drive your car to get to the business. I mean, you guys see where I'm going with this. So by branching out into different businesses and to owning different types of assets, the rules for the wealthy in asset ownership are literally written in the way where there's almost nothing, at least to the best of my knowledge, that you're not going to be able to write off, as long as that money is kept under the umbrella of the business. So when it comes to actually executing differently, once you guys have your first asset and you're ready to start playing by the rules of the rich, it's really not that hard, guys. Especially if you're just starting out in real estate, like I'm suggesting. All you guys have to do is simply save your receipts for purchases after talking to your tax accountant. After you start to understand the rules a little bit better for the state in which you live, and once you know certain things are covered, just save the receipts for all those purchases. Then from there, you're gonna account for those purchases, obviously. You can use Google Docs, guys. Google Documents is free access to the program Excel, where you can have an Excel spreadsheet where you basically just account monthly for all of your expenses. And all I did, guys, whenever I first started this, is I just simply asked my tax accountant if they had a spreadsheet that might be good for me to account for them. And the person I had at the time just simply gave me an Excel spreadsheet. I made simple modifications for my needs for my business, and then I was good to go. You know, once a month, at the beginning of each month, I would open it up, I'd go over the receipts, I'd put everything in the right column, and then I'm done. And it's that simple with home ownership, really. You largely will not need to do it more than once a month when it comes to your accounting. Just do it as necessary, find whatever method works for you guys. But ultimately, if you're buying homes, it's very simple, guys. The accounting aspect, like I said, still to this day, I just do it once a month. So the choice is yours. I'd like to ask, with this being the final video of part 1 that actually has all the educational content to it, do the sacrifices sound worth it to you? Ultimately, I hope that they do, because I've tried to lay out what I believe all the benefits are of being disciplined, living below your means, and going into asset ownership instead of only relying on one income stream from working a job. Do the sacrifices, the limited amount of sacrifices that you have to make to start this process, sound worth it to you guys? Ultimately, it's your choice. If not, that's okay. You know, like you guys have to live your own lives and make whatever decisions you feel are best for you. But ultimately, I just want you guys to know what your options are that I think you were likely never even told about. Because with knowing your options, with knowing that there really is another path that you can take when it comes to your financial security in life, now the power's in your hands to make whatever decision's best for you. And that's the thing that I think is really unfair in today's day and world, is that I think the vast majority of us are not taught what this other option is. So I hope the sacrifices are worth it. I hope you guys can, start taking some of these steps and see the success that I'm convinced you will, as long as, you internalize the majority of things that I've taught you guys here in these videos. I absolutely think that you're going to produce very similar results to I have in my own life. So thank you guys for being here. Please take a second to like and subscribe. I'm very excited to conclude part 1 of my channel. There is going to be one more video, and like I said, it's going to be a video where I just try to give you guys all of the additional resources. If you really want to dive into this yourself as heavily as you can, I want to give you guys the resources that at least I found beneficial. So it's just going to be a very quick video where I give you books, podcasts, etc. But outside of that, I'm very excited to finally conclude this part, and I hope you guys really feel like you've been given a lot of value in it. I hope you guys have the determination to really start making some changes in your life to whatever magnitude that you decide would be best for you. So next is part 2, which, believe it or not, I am actually even more excited about to bring you guys. Part 2, we're going to talk about one specific asset, which is Bitcoin. And I know that is a word that probably shies a lot of people away. I know it's a word that sounds complicated, but I'm going to break down Bitcoin from you knowing absolutely nothing about it if you're in that camp, to giving you guys all of the information you need to know to hopefully realize that it's massively going to change the world. At least that's what I think it's going to do. It's something that can give you a lot of hope in the future, and it's something that you can massively benefit from if you understand the reasons why for what it's doing and why it's actually important. So like I said, I'm even more excited to start bringing about that content. I'm really glad that you guys have watched this content all the way to this point. So once again, thank you guys for being here, and with that, I'm out. Goodbye for now, guys.